Hello guys, welcome you back to my channel. I hope you guys are all doing great. It's good to be here again. On today's video, I'm going to show you how to create a pattern for an underbust cut for a Basque waistline dress. Okay, so it's not as difficult as it sounds. Okay, it's quite easy and straightforward. Okay, you need to stay to the end of this video. Okay, as I'm going to break it down for you. It's very simple, I can assure you that. Okay, so like I said, apart from the usual waistline cut we usually have, the cut is going to be directly under the bust. Okay, yes, so that's why it's the under bust cut. Okay, and there is going to, and of course a Basque waistline as well. So getting started, I already have here marked out some lines for my pattern paper. I'm using, having in mind that this is on fold. Okay, so here let me show you. So from here, it's depending on where you want your neckline to start from. Okay, depending on how low you want the bust area to be, it could be start from 6 to 7 to 8, depending on what you want actually. But I'm going to start marking from the 6 inches mark. Okay, yes, I'm going to start marking from the 6 inches mark. So from here, I placed my tape at the 6 inches mark, and the first line you're seeing here is at 9, which represent the chest line. Okay, then the next one is 11.5, that is the bust point line. Then this third line here is the under bust line. Okay, and remember I said that this under bust, the cut is going to be directly on the under bust. Okay, yes, so for this under bust, I put in an allowance, okay, for this under bust. Okay, because I need to have an extra allowance to work with, so that by the time I'm done, joining the cups and all that, and I'll still have probably something to trim out from before I join it to the lower parts, which is going to be the waistline. Okay, so this is the under bust line, and I added extra 3 inches of allowance just to be on the safe side. It doesn't cost anything. All you need to do is just to trim out the excesses whenever you are done. Like I will always say, it's better you have excesses to trim out from than to run into problem. So I added 3 inches for the allowance of this under bust, which is at 14. Okay, so I'll just pull this now back to this allowance line, still representing the under bust line. And the next one I have here now is the waistline, which is at 17. Then of course the next one is at back. So the basque, for from the waist to the basque, it could be between 4 to 5 inches. Okay, so here I have here added 6 inches. So I just added extra allowance 1 inch, because you're going to join it. There will be a joining from the waistline to the under bust, right? And there will also be a joining on the lower part of the basque to the other body of the dress, which is the floorlet. So having in mind that the pattern you're creating for this now is divided into 3 parts. So the first part is from the beginning part to the under bust, where you have the cut. The second one from the under bust to the waist line. Okay, then of course the next one will be from that waistline to the other body of the dress, the main body of the dress. Yes, so that's it. So I'll just a quick recap. I placed my tape at the 6 inches mark. Here the chest line, the bust point 11.5, the under bust at 14. Here is an allowance for the under bust, I need it. So pulling down my tape back to this same under bust line, I take my waist measurement, and of course the basque waistline. It's as simple as that. Okay, so having marked this out, the next thing I'm going to impute now is towards impute create my curve. So but one thing I also want you to know, remember, let me remind you again that there's going to be a cut on this under bust cut. So once I put in my measurements, okay, I can as well just go cut off this part and set it aside before I create my curve. I don't necessarily have to create my curve like we usually do all the way from here to the waistline. It's not necessary. So my curve is just going to start from the top to this under bust. I hope you understand that. So the first thing I should do now is to put in the the measurement. Okay, so coming down to this chest line, I'll take note of the bust measurement, which is 38. If I divide it by 4, I have 9.5. So I'm going to mark out that 9.5 here, and I'll add an extra um, 2 inches of allowance. Okay, then I'll come to the under bust line. I'll the measurement 31 divided by 4. I have 7.75. I'll mark it here, and I'll add extra 2 inches of allowance as well. Okay, then I'm just going to extend this down to the waistline. Okay, I'll extend this down to the waistline like so, and connect this to the bust line as well. Okay, so it's as simple as that. So I can still decide to add extra inches of allowance, okay, for that. So that's it. So once I'm done imputing my measurements, I'm just going to cut this out now. I'm going to cut all the way from here to my Basque line. Okay, yes, the next thing I want to create now is going to be the Basque effect. So for the Basque effect, you could have it to be in a triangle form. You could also have it to be in a curve form. Okay, so I'll just go with the triangle form. So from this waistline, I'm just going to extend it to this Basque line that we have here. Okay, I'm just going to extend it to the Basque line. You can see. So I have created the box effects. Okay, yes. So one thing I would like to do here as well is to add in an extra 1 inches of allowance on this part. So I'll just add my extra allowance, or you could as well do this on your main fabric. Okay, when you are transferring the pattern to your fabric, you can just extend the measurement to your main fabric. Coming down to the bust line, I will also do that as well. Okay, so that's it for this. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut out at this under bust cut here. So here you have this. So I'm just going to cut this out. So this is going to be for the back waistline. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to concentrate on this upper part so that I can create my cup. Okay, so now I'm going to come here. I'm cutting this in form of a princess dart cut. So cutting this in form of a princess dart cut, I'm going to impute my um shoulder measurement 5.5. I usually use for an average woman, so I put in 5.5 here. Okay, then this is the chest line. All I'll do now is just to connect this to the bust point line here. Okay, then from here I could leave it like this. I could just go down a bit, say about 5. Remember, we already have 6 inches mark, so I could just do say go down a bit, 5 and half of an inch, so that I could give it a little bit of curve. Or better still, you can still leave it like this. Okay, so that's it. The next thing I'm going to do now is to come to this point here. I go up by 2.5 inches. I mean, go down by 2.5 inches. So from here I mark out 2.5 inches here. Take note of that I'm going to I'm connecting this. I'm trying to create my princess dart line now. Then I'll come to my bust point line. I'll mark the bust span measurement, which is 7 divided by 2. That's 3.5. Then I add 0.5 inches of allowance, making 4. So I'll mark 4 inches mark here at the bust point. Then I come to the under bust. I take away half an inch from it and mark what, 3.5. I will extend the same thing to this under bust allowance line here. So I'll connect this and this to the bust point. Then I'll take this up to this armhole midpoint here, and here it is. In creating my cup, I'll take 2 inches because the bust measurement is 38, so I need 2 inches. Like I said in my previous video, this varies, okay? So for a lesser, say from 36 downward, you can use 1.5. For a more bigger bust, you can use 2.5. For a much more bigger bust, you can use 3, okay? But this is a bust 38, so 2 inches is fine. So I'll mark 2 inches here. I will also take the same 2 inches on this lower part. So I'll connect the lines to a straight line, okay? Then coming to this under bust, I'm just going to move up and down by 1 inch. This is the bust point line. I'll mark 1 inch upward, and here I'll still mark 1 inch downward, okay? So from this 1 inch downward, I'll connect it to this under bust line to create my lower cup. Carefully doing this. So I've created my lower cup here. Okay, so now this 2 inches mark that we have here, I will take away half of an inch, which makes it 1.5. Whatever it is you have here, you must always take away half of an inch. So for here I have 2. If I take away half of an inch, that means 1.5. So I'm going to put in that 1.5 here, but I'll be splitting it into 2. So on both sides, I will divide it into 1.5 inch, so 0.75 on this side, 0.75 on the other side. So I'm going to split it into 2 and mark 0.75 here and 0.75 here. So this 0.75 mark, I'm going to connect it to this 1 inch that is above the bust point line. So I'm taking it this way and this way. So you can see that we have created our cup here. So what I'm going to do is on this part, this one that is going towards this armhole line, I will extend it to 1.5 inch. Okay, it's very important so that when you're joining it to the armhole, you will not have any shortage. Rather, you could have an excess to trim out. It's very important to always have 1.5 or 2 inches. I'm marking out about 1.5 inch extra here. Okay, so that's it, guys. So now, having in mind that we've already inputted our bust measurements, we already have our lines, but I need to put back this extra allowance I have here, which is a 1.5 inch. I'm going to add it back here, okay, because of the dart is going to go off, so I need to input it back as well. And also coming down to this under bust, what we have here is 2 inches, so I also need to put back the 2 inches as well. I'll also extend it to the lower part, and that's it. So I'll just connect my lines. You can see, guys, we're done. So the next thing is to take this and connect it to this point as my armhole. Believe it or not, we're done. Like, it's that simple and straightforward. Okay, so the only thing left for me now is to just cut this all out. So I'll take it from here. So remember, I extended this neckline, so I think I will leave it here for now. I would like to leave it this way at that 6 inches mark. Okay, yeah, so this is it, guys. This is it, and here is the back. And do not forget, like I said, this is cut out on fold. Do not forget that this is cut out on fold. So for this this piece now, this upper part. Another thing, you can also use a different cut. Like, I would like to also show you how to create this upper part under bust cut using the regular breast cut pattern as well. Okay, so setting this aside, remember we started at the 6 inches mark. So I'm just going to take note of that. I'll mark my chest line, which is at 9, and my bust point at 11.5. Then my under bust line at 4. Although we extended it extra, remember we extended it. Okay, so I'll just work with what I have. But if you're placing this on your paper, just know that you have to extend it. Okay, so converting all this to a straight line, I'm just doing this so I could show you a different method on how to cut the upper part if you don't want to use the princess dart method that we used. Okay, yeah. So taking note of this, this is the chest line, the bust point, and of course this is the under bust line. So what I will do now is to put in my bust part measurement. Remember, we're working with 4, so I'm going to mark 4 inches all the way. Coming down to the under bust line, I'll take 1 inch on both sides. I'll mark 1 inch on both sides. And to this upper line as well, the neckline, I'll also take 1 inch on both sides. Take note of that. Then at this bust point line, I will go up and down by 1 inch. Take note of the point. 1 inch on both sides. So this 1 inch below the bust point, I'm going to connect it to the under bust line and to the other side as well. Then this 1 inch above the bust point, I'll also connect it to this upper part, creating a curve as well. So you can see that we have created our curve. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to what? Impute my bust measurements here. First of all, my shoulder line I'm working with is 16 inches. If I divide it by 2, I have 8 inches here. But because of this extra allowance we have here, which is of 2 inches, I'm going to put it here. So, and also because this is more like a tube, it's not like the regular shoulder, and we are using like an average off shoulder measurement. Remember, every shoulder measurement, when it comes to this, you must always take away 1.5 or 2 inches. So I'll move backward by 2 inches. Okay, so this is my shoulder line here. Then to this chest line, I'll input my bust measurement, which is 9.5 plus an extra 2 inches of allowance. Then I'll come to the under bust and input 7.75. So we have 31 divided by 4, 7.7 plus extra 2 inches of allowance as well. So I'll just connect the points together, having in mind that we have a dart here of 1.5, 2 inches. So I'll put back the 2 inches as well here. So just connect this. From here, I'll create an armhole curve. So here it is. So it's as simple as that. So the only thing left now is to cut this out. Like I said, remember this line will be extended, okay? Because of this pattern, this line has to be extended if I'm placing it on my fabric. So I'll just cut this all out. So here it is, guys. You can see this is quite straightforward. Although this is 2, so it's on fold. So this is how it's going to look, placing it on both sides. So if you don't want to use the princess dart pattern that we did, you can use this part to create your upper part. So that's it, guys. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut the back piece. Okay, so for the back piece, it's quite straightforward. You can use the same back pattern for either method that we used. Okay, placing my tape at the same 6 inches mark, I'll take note of my chest line, the bust point line, the under bust line, and the waist line. Okay, and we say this one, we can call it the allowance. Okay, so I like to label this. I call this the chest line. This is the bust point. This is the under bust, even though we are not actually going to put in any bust measurement, but just to put it in place. And here is the waistline, then here is the allowance. Okay, so here, remember, we use the 5 inches, 5.5 for an average woman for the off shoulder measurement. So I'm just marking 5.5. Okay, so this 5.5 here, then I'll come here and input my bust measurement, which use 9.5. So all I do is just to connect this to this bust measurement here. Okay, and for this back piece, okay, so I would love to come down, say, to about 2 inches. So I have 6 mark. I'll just come down to 8 inches here. So I'll take this way. You could do a curve, you could do a v-neck if that's what you want. So this for the neckline for the back piece. Okay, then from here, just like we did for the front piece, I move um, inward by 2.5 inches. So I come here, I move inward by 2.5 inch. Then I come to my bust point. I take the bust point measurement of 4. Then at the under bust, I remove half of an inch and mark 3.5. So I'll take it down to the waistline, 3.5 as well, straight down. I'll just mark. Then connect this to the bust point. From the bust point, I connect it to this point at the armhole. Guys, it's that simple. So what I will do is just to move up. It's optional. You can decide to leave it this way or decide to move up a bit. So I'll just move up by, say, 0.5 inch, and I'll take it here. Then from here, I will extend it to 1.5 inch, just like we did. I will extend it to 1.5 inch, and that's it. So the next thing I'm going to do now, we have already inputted our bust measurement. So I'll just add extra, say, 2 inches of allowance. Then from here, I'll just connect it to my armhole. So here it is. Then for the under bust, we have 31 divided by 4, which is 7.75. So I'll take it here and I'll mark my extra 3 inches of allowance. I'll mark it here and I'll extend it to the waistline. So you can see, guys, this is quite easy and straightforward. Okay, the only thing left for me now to do is just to cut this all out. So if you notice for this back piece, if you notice that we did not put any zipper allowance, okay, so it's going to be having a loop at the back. Okay, so I'm still going to extend, move inwards by 2 inches. I'm still going to cut off 2 inches. Okay, you might need to take note of that. Cut out 2 inch for loop, so that when I'm placing it on my fabric, I would, have that in mind. So here it is. This is the back piece, and here is the front piece. Here is another method for the front piece. for this too, if you don't want this one, this princess that cut, you can also make use of this other method. Okay, but this is what I'm going to be using. Okay, so here it is, guys. You can see this is quite straightforward. Yeah, so that brings us to the end of today's tutorial. On the next video, I'm going to show you how to use this pattern to make a very beautiful piece. I'll place it on the fabric and to cut out, a beautiful piece, and to, of course, make a beautiful dress out of it. Yes, so thank you so much, guys, for watching. If this tutorial has been helpful, please go ahead and like. I appreciate your comments as well. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do that. I will appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much again for watching, and also a very big thank you to my subscribers. Thank you guys so much. I will not stop thanking you guys. Thank you for always supporting me. I appreciate you guys a lot. So yeah, so see you on the next video, and have a beautiful day. Bye.